So I wanted to begin with my thank yous. I wanted to begin the thank yous foundationally, beginning with the dirt, beginning with the earth that is supporting these works. And a lot of thought and work has gone into the dirt here that we're going to walk on. There is the rubble of the hill. There's the mud and sand originally underneath that rubble from the banks of the Buffalo River. There is a fantastic cocktail of soil that Josh Smith has created that we'll go into it a little bit more in detail further on in the talk. And that has really allowed all this to happen. So that first things first, we're gonna thank the dirt. Then we're gonna thank Josh, who has really taught us all how to collaborate. It's been a big deal. And artists don't like to collaborate. You know, it's just not, it's not what you're necessarily trained to do. You know, have the big vision and, but this is really quite different. And I do feel that the ecology and the plants are supporting the artworks and vice versa. So this is really, a really lovely relationship. And I want to thank Bronwyn for coming and discovering, having the big vision and the production chops to put this together. And of course, Lou and Maris for now sort of running with it. I feel that this is something that can't overstate is going to really grow. And thanks to my daughter Violet, who came and helped me lay it out early a year ago. So we're at the 1 year mark now with River Hill. And oh, and our host, Rick Smith, who's not here. So this is about a year ago. And so, like I said, River Hill is a labyrinth. And what that means is it's a map. It's a map, but it's also a container. And a map for what? You know, a map for coming into right relationship with yourself, with nature, and really kind of with the really big picture of things. So it deals with a lot of curves, pivots, and all these things are experienced physically because you walk it. So you know, we're in our heads a lot. And here, when you walk this labyrinth, you create a muscle memory of winding and unwinding, and it works. I arrived here a couple of days ago, total basket case. I'm very happy now. So it really is. This is a healing modality. It's an ancient modality. This River Hill is a unique form. There's nothing quite like it. It's not really based on the ancient forms, but it's unique to this place. So this is what it looked like before. It's basically a rubble heap, about 1/3 of an acre. The path now, we brought about 300 cubic yards of soil. It wasn't earth that was scraped from somewhere else that some other patch of land needed. It was soil that was SEICHE sand that had washed up from the lakeside that was then mixed with compost from across the river. And then also a really loving mixture of nursery soil that I'll talk about later that Josh made. So the beginning point for figuring out like what works here, so you know, to borrow Saad Raza's term, place specific. You know, I'm not from here. I arrived, I like to say to Josh, like kind of like a cottonwood seed blown in, but I'm happy here. And to sort of figure out, you know, where am I? Sort of you big picture and you pull out. And when I pull out, what I saw was the meander of the Buffalo River, the Buffalo Creek. And it's a really, it's amazing. So here it is superimposed on the hill. And okay, this is where we'll start. We're on the banks of this river, this creek, and it has this shape. It's a meander. And so My labyrinth is based on, has a structure, so there's form and chaos, randomness and order, which is sort of how we come into balance with ourselves too, right? We don't want to be rigid and ordered or just goofy. We need both. We need both things. So here, this labyrinth contains both a random form, a meander, and also is based tightly on a circle. It's a circle with what I call 16 thresholds. There's 16 points that you cross as you enter into the main circle. These 16 points are each 32 feet away from what I call the heartstone. There's an altar center. And you'll see it has these, oh here, on the t-shirts, which you can, there's 8 curves, arcs, within the center of the circle. So there's an organized, ordered form within the meander. And, you know, and then this shape, this meander taught me a lot too in terms of walking it. And I sort of decided to take on these sharper curves and pivots as hindrances, you know. And so what does the water do when it hits a hard spot? It moves around it. It doesn't keep going. It sidesteps it and moves around. So learning from this wider view on how to be and how to make this work. Okay. So what do we got here? Oh, River Hill is also a henge. And what does that mean? So it is, a henge refers to sort of a Neolithic form of sun gazing. So there's 2 entrances. There's a western entrance and an eastern entrance, and you can walk them either way. So the point of a labyrinth, why it is meditative, because you don't know where you're going, but you're never lost, right? So you keep, what you have to do is, and it's an expanded metaphor, like all of that means something, like just keep putting one foot in front of the other, you don't know where you're going, you cannot possibly see around a curve, that's life. You know, we have our horizon line is a misnomer. It's not a line, it's a curve, right? The earth is curved. The hill happens to be curved, which is kind of cool. So we can't actually see into the future. We can, even if we stand up and we look straight out on the desert or the ocean, we only see about 11 miles ahead of us, 11 miles into the future, so to speak. So that's good information. We just don't know what's going, and we have to keep proceeding. We have to slow down in the curve to make the pivots. And that's how it goes. Yeah. And in the middle, I talk about, like I think of this middle as the place of nothing and also place of everything. It's sort of, you know, you come, you'll know when you get close to it and when you wander away. And now I'm going to tell you all this, and we'll go outside and you'll forget everything because the plants are so fantastic. But at least you know this is the foundational thought of where we're happening. Oh, so the heartstone. This is how we started at the middle. This is a gift of an enormous boulder from Mr. David Granat. Arrived and did a perfect somersault at the center, and at this point, and it wasn't really something that I was looking for. This boulder found us here, and so we went out. I wanted to sort of have a, let's say, like a device for structuring a curve, and so I thought we would do these with the rocks, and so we went out looking for rocks, and I've learned from Violet that, you know, in animism, not all rocks are alive, but some are. And these sort of, we found them, they seemed like they wanted to come along. We now know who they are, they're part of the work, and they look to me here like they're waiting for the school bus to pick them up. This is what happens. So the rocks are named, you get to know them. and as are the standing logs, which I think Josh made me feel was my idea, but I think it was his idea, and I really love it. There's a couple of standing logs here also as markers in the work, and then recently we put these black locust rounds to mark the circle, so that you have even just a nudge of awareness of when you're crossing thresholds from inner circle to outer circle. And then, yeah, Snakey and Oscar guard the eastern gate. This is Josh. So, Josh, I'm gonna sort of do quick, because this is really, I'm not an ecologist, and I feel like there's a lot of ecologists here, but I'm gonna sort of relay what I was just so impressed by what we did here through Josh. So, because we're in an urban landscape, there's lots of deer, and there's lots of hungry deer. So Josh said we have to figure out plants that the deer won't eat. And then we have to, so there was these spicy ones that they don't like. And then we have to figure out, because I'm just one person, what kind of soil, what kind of cocktail to create so that we don't have to spend more time than we have weeding. And I have to say, that's been really successful. Bravo. And I'm in Josh's world here, but I'll tell you how I understand it, is this mixture of the SEICHE soil, the lake soil that was washed up during a storm, was then mixed with compost, and it's very nutrient poor, it's very sandy, so the weeds aren't liking it. And when I came here in July, the plants weren't liking it that much either. But now it seems that they've toughened up, and they've grown used to it, and they're growing, and it's working, but the weeds are not, so that's amazing. And the other thing that happened was the nursery soil that I'm very impressed with. Oh wait, that wasn't supposed to go so fast. Which is a mixture of, again, I'm in your zone, biochar and so burnt wood and Erin's chicken poop and her winged angel. So not only is the soil created, some of the seeds are also collected in the wild, they're germinated. There's a long backstory to what we're gonna go see now. And it's all so intentional, and that's why I do believe it's growing so well and so strong now. So yeah, so this is the soil. This is the 300 cubic yards of soil placed like a surgeon between the walkways. And we worked, thanks with Bronwyn, we had 12 UB Arts Collaboratory students who helped shape the soil and plant the over 3,000 plants that were grown at the nursery, at the Homestead Nursery, and came here. So again, how do we walk it? So it's a spiral, and I'm like wondering too, like why is it working? You know, why does this make you feel good? Why does it bring you into balance? And what I think it is that we are walking this spiral, we're winding and unwinding, we're pivoting left, we're pivoting right, we're basically undoing our knots, which is in harmony with basically everything. You know, we've got spirals that make up our microverse. We have the spirals in our brain matter, in our intestines, and the whorls of our hair, and our thumbprints and fallopian tubes, and basically everything. We're structurally consist of these spirals, and also we live in the universe. So we're in these elliptical. We exist in this spiraling ellipses also. So you know when we acknowledge and walk these spirals and pivots, we're just saying, okay, this is who we are and where we are, and this is what we can do to come into right relationship with that. So that's what I am. So we have here? Oh yeah, so this is my thing. So this labyrinth, this pathway that we're going to walk is a landscape, is on the ground, but you know, you can also connect these different thresholds, these 16 thresholds, not only on the x-axis, but also on the y-axis. And so, you know, that really is this relationship to the sun. Well, I guess the earth is turning, which makes it look like the sun is arcing to the right. And it starts to let us think too about what's below the surface of the ground, so that we're not just sort of walking the surface, we're also walking the y-axis. It blows my mind out. So yeah, so this is a still from a film I made. I'm actually a filmmaker, and so this was a series of the sun rising and setting. It's a film called Mandorla, which in Italian means almond. So it creates rising and setting. When you cross the frames, they were creating this almond shape, the holy almond shape, the Vesica Pisces. And that's when I made this film, Mandorla, I learned that when I locked my frame on the rising sun, it wanted to, which is a superstar, it wanted to exit stage right very quickly. It doesn't rise and set like you think it does. And we know that the earth is round. We know that it curves and circles the sun, but it really does, but we forget. And I think that my intention with this work is that it sort of hooks into that remembering. Okay, I'm winding up. So this is just an earlier work that I made called The Empress. This is a more structured labyrinth made with poured concrete shells and some gemstones embedded in it at a women's shelter in Miami. This is a labyrinth my mother made, and this is where I was married. This is at the site in Germany where the medieval mystic Hildegard of Bingen had her visions, and so this site, this labyrinth there, has now become a pilgrimage site, and it's deeply rutted. It's been walked so much that it's a, you know, and that's my wish here. So what I want to say is that the labyrinth, these works, they want to be walked, they want to be used. They are containers. They will hold anything you want to put in them. Anything that you need this work to contain, it'll hold for you. And but it wants to be used. It wants to be, it needs it, and it likes it. And anyway, so this is where it started. So I learned this labyrinth making from my mother, Gundula, who surprisingly came up with this seed pattern as well, which I think is pretty amazing. This is another work that from a year ago in the north of Italy. It's another labyrinth made with chalk, and it takes on a violin form because it was made in the town of Cremona, where they make violins, and the violin tuning and the vibration of that is more the theme there. And yeah, and while the sun's rising, so this was the plan for that. Instead of a circular seed pattern, this one takes an oval seed pattern, which is like the Vesica Pisces shape. And yes, and a panther looks you in the eye and laps the water and curls and uncurls her tail as you walk it. What else we have here? Oh, I'm just about to finish up. We'll just a little thing. And so I talk about the labyrinth is a living form, you know, and this one here, the river hill is place specific to here. It couldn't exist anywhere else. And it's living because it's not rigid. This is you know, labyrinths are an ancient map, but they are adaptable and usable because it really is a tool. So you adapt your tools to need and use. I think I'm finishing up here, Marlene. I won't talk about that, that's too much. But here, I'll leave it on this image for you. So this is about, thought this was a good segue to you. Anyway, this is a still from a film called Lover, where I began this sort of thought exploration about what happens under the ground. So about these sort of movies, you know, so for me as a filmmaker with The Labyrinth, you go in to tell yourself your own story, you know, so I'm not prescriptive about what you need to think about or how you need to use it. And as a filmmaker, I don't do that. But what it does do is allow you, like the film, like, you know, if I point my camera this way down the road, the world looks this way, and when I point it that way down the road, I'm in a different place. And so the walk does that. It allows you to literally see the world from different perspectives, both the outer and inner.